So there are lots of things that we can do. America's got another huge challenge that we're faced with, which is the crisis of global warming.
Yeah.
And this is a crisis by any possible measure. If you look at what's happening, we are 4% of the world's population. We're the worst polluter on the planet. We put out 25% of the world's greenhouse gases. This has to change. And America's got to make a change in how... we use 22 million barrels of oil a day. America's addicted to oil. And we have got to make a shift. Now here's what I think. I think we ought to cap carbon emissions in America. I think we ought to bring that cap down. We ought to reduce our carbon emissions by at least 80% by the year 2050. And then we ought to auction off below the cap the right to emit any carbon. And that carbon dioxide. And that means we make the polluters pay. That's the bottom line. So it should generate $30 or $40 billion. That money ought to be used to transform the way we use energy. Wind, solar, cellulose-based biofuels. We ought to ban the building of any more coal-fired power plants in this country until we have the ability to capture the carbon. We ought to make sure that the most fuel-efficient vehicles are being built in America by union workers, not being built somewhere else. And then we need a President of the United States who actually will ask Americans to be patriotic about something other than war. Who will say to America, we have to conserve in our homes, in our workplaces. We have to drive more fuel-efficient vehicles. All of us are going to have to do this together.